Hey guys, welcome back. Rick Snyder here, Shipley Swine Genetics, and welcome to another episode of Hog Jack the Podcast. This is episode number 5. We are sitting here with a special guest, Ryan Michael from the National Swine Registry. I got Randy Shipley to my immediate right, and then Mitch Dugan there on the end. We are going to talk about the National Swine Registry, specifically your field rep position, which is what Ryan is for the National Swine, and why it's important, and just some other kind of cool stuff. Now, Ryan, we're just going to kind of start off with a little bit of like backstory, kind of how you got started in the industry. I know your family has been raising purebred hogs for quite a while, and so just kind of tell me.
Probably closer to 80.
80 years. Wow.
Yeah, long time.
Long time.
Yeah.
So there was a grandfather, or there was a great grandfather before there was a grandfather.
Yep. So my granddad.
So that makes you generation number four.
Yep. Fourth
Yeah.
generation.
Fourth generation right here.
So,
cool.
Yep, my granddad's name's Don Michael, and then his dad was also named Don Michael, but he started raising pigs when he was younger and kind of in his probably 30s. And then he started out with Hampshires. And actually, my granddad's brother, when he was in FFA, started doing an FFA project where he wanted to buy 3 Yorkshire bred gilts. So, and then in those 3 Yorkshire litters, they grossed more money than all of my great grandpa's Hampshire litters. So we switched entirely to Yorks. So I think last year was our 75th year raising Yorkshires.
Wow.
Wow.
On Vista Farm.
Wow.
So we've had Yorkshires continuously all the time of the 75 years. We currently have Hampshires as well. We've had those for quite a while. And then more recently, but still a lot longer than most people have, we have about 15 or 20 Hereford sows as well. So about,
Yeah, and those pigs sell good for you.
yeah, we do find some Herefords
and they're good hogs. Yeah.
So we have run around 80 sows. But like I said, my granddad kind of that's what he's done his whole life is raise pigs. He hasn't had any outside job. He's just been pretty much a purebred livestock breeder.
And you were bred into it.
Yes, I grew up learning lots of life lessons from him and my dad because that's what they do full time. And so I probably like pigs a little differently just because of how I grew up relative to other people my age, just based on my upbringing and kind of how I was taught.
And it's the breeding aspect of it. You know, a lot of kids your age, they might grow up, have shown hogs, which,
I did show.
I'm not saying you didn't.
Yes, right. But
and that's their main background.
yes.
You actually have the background of, yes, showing hogs for sure, but you have all those breeding fundamentals that go along with it. So you're pretty well rounded in the livestock, industry
Yes.
because of the background.
And our operations, or I guess my family's, is a little different than a lot of people's currently, because we still sell boars and bred gilts and open gilts, along with club pigs and 4-H type pigs as well. So we kind of do the full circle of the industry, I like to say.
And you about have to anymore.
Yep.
You about have
Yeah.
to
And
anymore.
have you worked on the family farm? I mean, just growing up?
Yes. Oh, yeah.
Did you work there before you started at MSR? Or?
Yep. So, I mean, all through my childhood and upbringing, I kind of had a lot of responsibility when it came to like our online sales and we have a big live sale. I kind of do most of the marketing in terms of that, help my dad make some mating decisions, and then just day-to-day operations, do a lot of things with that as well. But then I kind of went to college. I went to Illinois Central College for 2 years and in Peoria, Illinois. So on the judging team there, and then transferred to Ohio State, and then just recently graduated from that. And then in between Illinois Central College and Ohio State, I actually was the intern for the NSR as a field staff intern. And that's kind of how I got into the position I am now. They did not have a field rep when I was the intern. And so then that position became available, and they reached out to me, and then I was really excited to get that opportunity.
And Ryan actually is our personal field rep here too. So.
Eastern half of the United States. So
yeah, that's a big area.
yes, I do the eastern half. Mick Bellamy does the western half, and
Yeah.
Jeff Nemechek is our director of field services, and he does a lot in the kind of the central part of the United States. He's from Kansas, but
Yeah.
we split it up and divide and conquer.
Divide and
Yep.
conquer. That's
I've
what
made several visits here the last couple of years.
Yeah.
I brought
Yeah.
the intern with me this summer, and I always like coming to Shipley's because it
We like
offers
having you.
a different kind of way that you guys make money and help your customers than some people, just because you have a different I guess philosophy than some people. I always like, it's a good thing to learn about, especially with our interns.
But just like with your great grandfather and grandfather and dad, we make a living doing one thing.
Raising pigs.
And so you got to take care of your customers. And we need every customer we can get.
And that's another thing that you've talked about this, Randy, to me before when I've been here, and my dad and granddad say the same thing. it's a customer relations type of a business. It's really easy for somebody to have a bad experience and they tell everybody. Right. So if you make sure everybody's treated equally and fair and have a positive attitude, they'll take care of you eventually.
And it comes back around.
And tell 10 more people.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's it's real easy to market, and we've been doing the social media obviously, and we're doing this podcast and stuff, and we try to get our name out there and we try to advertise. But honestly, the best piece of advertisement is just the word of mouth, and that's why it's important for us just to try to take care of every single person. Whether you've been a customer of ours for 10 or 20 years, or this is your
day one.
Day one customer. It's really important to take care of.
You guys have a lot of repeat customers, I'm sure.
A lot of repeat customers, and we're reaching out and picking up new customers as well, which is tremendous. Ryan, the responsibilities of being a field rep, day-to-day operations, you traveling a lot. I know you're probably in your car more than you probably are at home.
I feel like I live out of my car a lot of times.
That's true.
I always got something in there. I usually just keep a few extra pairs of clothes in there in case I need.
You got a whole wardrobe.
Yes, I do. But no, I guess my day-to-days are, it just depends on a little bit of the time of year.
What's going on?
Like right now we're in the state fair season. So I just finished up, I was at Ohio State Fair for quite a few days there, helping with check-in and things. And then the open shows, doing some breed classification stuff, and then helping with the sales that they put on there. I'll do the same thing at Illinois and Indiana here coming up. And then when we're not going to state fairs, we just got done with a couple of major shows that we put on.
Yeah, summertime shows are pretty big.
The exposition and summer type conference, and they have the junior shows with those as well. And those are huge events that we're there for more than a week, kind of setting up, and it gets to be long, but it's pretty fun to see a lot of people. And then also going to visit places like Shipley's,
right,
and all over the country, visiting just different producers, breeders, looking through their animals, if they got boars for shows coming up, looking through their sows, just seeing if they got gilts for type conferences, if they have baby pigs they're trying to sell, and help
online sales
to help with service, like kind of a rep for those. If you call
kind of a do it all,
Yep. So I travel a lot. I put a lot of miles in my car in a year, and so I like to go visit people. That's one of the best parts of my job, is getting to talk to people.
Developing those relationships.
It's a relationship kind of industry, and I feel like I am in a great position to make lots of relationships.
100%. No, I think it's kind of a cool gig. We've had, a couple different field reps, of course, in the last bunch of years and stuff. And it is neat, like when you guys come and visit.
To go off that a little bit, when I was little, the field rep for my family and would work our production sales was Ralph Doak.
Good guy.
One of the best. Yeah, one of the best people I know.
And so my thing about Ralph was I used to have to tell my dad, now explain to me exactly what Ralph does again, because it doesn't seem like somebody should get paid to do that. That seems like an awesome job. Kind
of a dream job.
Yes.
And boy, Ralph was good at it, wasn't
he? And when I was little after production sales, I used to hate it because my mom, she would make me take a nap during the day, because sales at night. And I would not sleep. I'd just wait out my window, and I was allowed to come down from my nap when Ralph pulled in the driveway. So I was just in the window, and as soon as Ralph's car would pull in, I would take down to my home. Yep. And I was probably 6 or 7, and I'd hop up all the pigs for him, and he would show them to me. But that was my introduction to this position that I have now.
Yeah, no, very cool. So if I'm new and I'm just getting started on a hog farm and I'm wanting to raise some purebred hogs and stuff, I guess what do I need to do to go about becoming and having that relationship with my field rep and, becoming a member of the National Swine Registry and everything? I guess first and foremost, you got to, do that.
Yep. So if you want to get started and become a member of the National Swine Registry, I would say check out the website, and there's lots of different resources on there that will answer lots of questions. And just the main thing, just call. Call myself, call our office. The people that work in there are more than happy.
I feel like we call you guys at least multiple times a day.
Lots.
I think we're one of the frequent callers.
Yeah, but no, that they would be
speed dial.
More than happy in the office to answer any questions, and there's no dumb question when it comes to trying to figure out how to become a member or how to get involved. I would say look on the website and use those resources that we have, and then get a hold of us if you have questions, because that's what we're here for. Just to try to help answer questions.
Yeah. So you would come to my farm and you would help me get started, and maybe I was looking to find a couple bred gilts, and you knew people that were selling bred gilts, and we'd help make some arrangements with some stuff like that, getting started.
A huge part of my job is answering phone calls. I feel like I'm kind of the bridge between some of the buyers and the sellers.
Oh no, you are.
Way. So if somebody calls me up and said, "Hey, Ryan, I'm looking for a Duroc gilt for this specific need, and this kind of describe what they're looking for." I could give them a couple names that they can call and try to help those sellers, but also help those buyers get good.
Exactly. You're kind of that middleman between the buyers and sellers. I know a lot of times, we can't make it to every major show or sale or anything, so we trust in you guys quite a bit. If there's somewhere like Duncan, Oklahoma, and we just can't be down there,
right?
Whatever. And, we might try to watch online or whatever, of course, but, we do rely on guys like you quite a bit to, go put eyes on specific hogs that we might be interested in. And we trust you guys, and your feedback and everything. And we might even have you guys bid. You always work the sale rings.
Yes. Yep.
So
work the ring at the sale.
The auctions are kind of fun.
Yeah.
I always enjoyed, whether we're buying or not, they're kind of fun.
Yeah. There's some excitement. There's a little bit of kind of a good feeling because you don't know if you're going to bring, someone's going to bring a lot of money, or there's a little bit of nervousness in the air too, as well.
Yep.
So, but the auctions are fun. I'm usually dressed up on the sale day, and
You guys do look real pretty in there. Always do.
Well, you know what? You had a really good teacher. You jumped on Ralph Doak and mentioned his name, and Ralph Doak was a really, really good fieldman for many, many, many years, and of course he's gone now. But the best thing about Ryan, guys, and number one, he's approachable. Number one, call him in a heartbeat. But he knows some of the differences. If you are wanting a litter of pigs that look pretty at 50 pounds, he can help you find that litter of pigs. If you're looking for a litter of pigs that just make quality, on the total opposite of the spectrum, you can find that. You can point them in the right direction. Ryan knows the difference, and a lot of these young kids coming out of college, they've been on the judging team, which you were on there with several members. That's all they know. They don't know the differences in maturity patterns, and they didn't spend a whole lifetime, even though he's not that terribly old yet, but he didn't spend a whole lifetime learning the differences, and Ryan does know. So please feel free to call him. I've never called him at 2 a.m, but I will someday.
Right.
Well, see you now.
Yeah. If he doesn't answer, I'm just going to keep right on calling.
Yeah, I know you've been pretty early, Randy. So
By the time you're waking up, he's going to bed.
Yeah.
Or vice versa.
Yeah, last night it was 7:45.
But
3:30 comes pretty early.
Yes, right. Yeah.
And that's what time you're getting in.
It just depends where I'm driving to.
Yeah. So a lot of these shows you've been going to, these big national shows, the state fairs, let's talk about some of the trends you're seeing. I know that's kind of a hot topic, like what's popular right now as far as eye appeal and frame size and short, tall, thick, fat, all that kind of stuff. What has any specific trend kind of jumped out to you that's on the rise right now?
I would say if you paid attention recently, one thing a lot of people are talking about right now, I would say, is bone. And just feature and bone and heaviness of structure seems to be something that's kind of a trend right now. And I don't. There's probably a difference between like a coarse bone and like a
round bone, or
like a round and flat bone, which I probably prefer. But bone is in right now, and bone sells, and that's kind of one of the trends of the time. People start talking about these in these shows a lot about like look and kind of balance and eye appeal from the profile, and I think there's a lot of value in that, because you don't want a pig that I guess if you're studying them is too ugly to look at. You want them to have some appeal to them, but I guess there's side effects, I guess, for lack of a better term, that come with that, because they can be a little flatter and narrower as well when you get them really pretty, like you guys know from experience. But I would say just bone and kind of look in terms of like front end are kind of in right now. The hogs that are big ribbed and bold and good footed, I don't think will ever really go out of style.
No,
you're always going to have that, because deep down, everybody's going to have a sow that can farrow and raise pigs and grow.
Whether they want to or not.
Right.
yeah, that's kind of the lifeblood of our farm. I mean, bone and productivity is the two main focuses.
You got to have
our point.
You're going to go out of business eventually, because you can't.
The foot's what touches the ground, and everything kind of goes up from there. And in our point of view is, you got to have feet and legs and bone.
Right.
So
I probably have like the reputation for being a little bit nitpicky in terms of like soundness and structure and squareness of build and things like that. But that's just, I guess, how I was raised.
That's your breeding background.
Yep, that's kind of how I've always been raised to sort them. Is kind of start at the ground up and kind of build them after that. And so I do have the opportunity to judge several shows.
Yeah, I was surprised you're doing about 15, 20 a year.
Yeah,
That's fantastic.
Summer's been pretty busy judging shows and then also going to different events. But I always say that when I'm judging shows, I like pigs that are sound structured and good built before anything, and then we can add some of those extras.
Now, if you want to add muscle, you can.
Yes, right. Yep. And there's lots of different. There's lots of people that make lots of money selling feed additives.
Oh my gosh.
Add lots of different things.
Oh my God.
Isn't it easier just to breed them?
Yes, it's a lot easier to breed those quality.
It's a lot cheaper anyway.
But they yet to make a feed that will fix structure.
Correct.
I haven't found one yet. And then Mitch, we just had our big county fair yesterday, which, as far as I know, is definitely one of the bigger county fairs I've ever heard of. And you sat there and you watched quite a bit of it. And to go off what Ryan was saying, he's seeing on these national levels, which is a little bit different than what we probably saw on our county fair yesterday. What are some of the stuff you noticed? We kind of talked a little bit about it during and after the show. What you saw yesterday, and not just one show.
Yeah.
You know, what's some of the stuff you've been seeing this summer? I know you go out a lot and you see a lot of stuff.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, the guy there at our county fair, I mean, they had to have power. I mean, they had to have muscle. I mean, had to have some rib shape, some body, some chest width. I don't feel like maybe feet and legs and structure was quite a big issue at the county fair. I mean, sound enough is okay, but
For the guy that judged.
Yeah.
I'm kind of like Ryan. I kind of like good feet and legs and start at the ground and build them on the way up, and then add those extras kind of if you can, you know. But yeah, another thing, and I don't know if this trend will stick or not, but hair is kind of crazy right now, and I just don't understand it personally.
I don't answer some of the
I
stuff.
mean, when I grew up, when I showed in 4-H, heck, we clipped it all off.
Shape the body.
Yeah.
And then now they're wanting to grow hair and fit it.
And I mean, if I'm not mistaken, there's products that they use to grow the hair.
Yes, there are people make lots of money like that. It's a little bit more of like almost like a beauty contest than having some actual real world value behind why we're picking certain traits, because the hair doesn't have a lot of real world value,
especially from a market hog
standpoint. It's visually fun to look at, I guess, if you're going for that. But
it's very presentable.
Yeah, right.
But some of these young judges, some of these new guys you graduated from college with, you know, they don't have a production they've got another job to make money at. And so raising hogs for them can be fun. But those guys, so many of those judges are some of the kids that are judging a lot of the shows today.
Yep.
And so for them, it becomes decent, important, you know.
And in my stance, I guess, on hair, especially when I'm judging, I'm not going to penalize you, obviously, if you got hair, because it is cool to look at. But I mean, that's not going to be much of a deciding factor, other than a kind of a cool talking point. Maybe you say this kid's done a really nice job getting the skin and hair ready. I don't know if that maybe necessarily moves you up or down any in terms of class placing, but it can be cool to look at, and they've probably spent a lot of time to get it ready. But I just don't know if it has a ton of value in terms of making better market hogs or breeding gilts or whatever it might be.
Well, not for making any better breeding gilts, that's for sure.
Yeah.
But, you know, where Ryan's just getting started, I'm just getting finished up. As far as going out and judging bunches and bunches of county or whatever, and higher type of shows. But, you know, sometimes first impressions got some value.
Yep, that's true.
And so if the skin and hair is terrible, not the hair, but if the skin's terrible, if they come in and
the hog's dirty,
right. Especially if it's a very competitive show, it's hard to get that second
find that
look
difference.
It is, and that first look has got value. So having not particularly the hair, but having the skin ready, the coat ready,
clean,
well presented. I mean, that's got value, because sometimes, guys, if you're in a class of 25 or 30,
it's hard to be seen.
You got one look,
right? You got to stick out.
Yeah, you got to stick out. Yep.
So big differences, you know, from going to these county fairs and these big national shows, you know, and the background of the judge. And I think it's really cool, Ryan, that guys, you know, your age bracket or you know, with the background that you have, you know, are kind of stepping up and making big strides in the industry and and doing a lot of cool stuff. Ryan is the guy that's been our field rep here for several years, and ever since the first time, you come over and we met you and everything, I've always
Often the first internship visit.
yeah, and like you were talking about first impressions, in the ring, but first impressions, from when we met Ryan, it was pretty obvious that you're really smart, really bright, you got a good future in the industry. So, a lot of the opinions we hear from you, we take to heart pretty heavy. So, do appreciate a lot of stuff you're doing. And one final topic, and this might get to be a little talkative here, because I know our feelings and Ryan's family's feelings are pretty similar on this topic. But Ryan, let's just start off. Why do you think it's important to raise purebred registered hogs? Obviously, you're working at National Swine Registry, which is a leading register of purebred hogs.
Right.
So,
and like we talked about at the beginning, my family's raised predominantly only purebred hogs for about over 80 years.
Only 80 years.
Yeah, right. And there's been a lot of changes, obviously, in different industry. But one thing about purebred hogs is they, relative to other like crossbreds or things like that, they're going to have some growth, some performance. And I'm still in the belief that different breeds can be known for different things. For example, Yorkshires should still be known for
Should
have some mothering ability, and Hampshires should have some muscle. And same thing with Durocs, they're going to grow, and Landrace are going to
meat quality.
Yes, right. And so I think that's gets a little bit where we'll make all the breeds kind of look similar, I guess, in terms of type and kind, and we probably bred a little bit of those traits that I guess certain breeds are known for out of them a little bit, but there's still lots of different genetics that still are in play that you can go back to and find a Yorkshire with some mothering ability, Hampshires with some muscle, things like that. But purebred pigs, when they're born, what they're out of, that they're going to be a little bit more maternal at times, or bring that terminal aspect if that's what you're looking for. And then also they're going to offer a little bit more growth. And there's nothing wrong with also using purebreds to make crossbreds. I don't think that's a bad thing.
Oh, you have to.
Right? Randy's talked about that. If you want to have some females on the bottom side that have some purebred influence, I think that just makes the litters more consistent. It makes them a little bit maybe grow a little bit better than what some of these ones that we're seeing are. But I think everybody wants consistent sellable litters. No matter what you're doing in the industry, if you're making show pigs that you're going to sell at 40 pounds, or you're making seed stock that you're going to sell as open bores or bred gilts, you want consistent sellable litters. I have found in my experience that purebreds are more consistent top to bottom in terms of litter quality.
Mm-hmm. And in episode 4 that we did there last week, we talked quite a bit about genetics, and it ties right in with what Ryan's talking about. These if you've got purebred females and you want to make show pigs, well, then we need to go with a powerful crossbred boar that'll give you consistency because you got the other side pure. If you've got a black exotic or a blue exotic that's been crossbred for several generations, they need to consider using a purebred boar. And I always tell guys, in the end, your pigs will be just as good.
Right.
They might not be quite as fancy at 50 pounds, but they will be just as good at the end, or that's my opinion anyway, right?
Yeah, no, super important. We definitely stand on the belief that purebred hogs is kind of the way to go, and it's been there for a long, long time. And I mean, I think if we want to continue doing this, we need to make sure that breeders are still going to raise purebred hogs. Yeah. So Ryan, one more thought here, then we'll cut it off. All these shows you're going to throughout the last several years, I know we've talked a little bit. What certain breeds you think are on the way up, and is there any breeds that are on the way down that maybe need to do a little bit of harder work? We talked about Yorkshires. We might not have been as happy the last several years, but I really think Yorkshires are on the rise here lately.
Yes, I would agree with that on Yorkshires. I would say 2-3 years ago, kind of when I was starting my internship with the NSR, and then my first summer there, I thought maybe Yorkshires were just the easiest breed for when people were asking me, well, what do I need to look for? I'd probably scratch my head a little bit and probably take a little longer to find them a Yorkshire boar that would fit their sow. But recently, I think just in terms of a breed that's been breeders have worked hard to make Yorkshires better.
Oh, they do.
And I appreciate that. And they've gotten a lot better here in the last couple of years, and had a hot summer selling boars and gilts that are at national shows and at the state fairs. And there's still state fairs to go, and I'm by the time this comes out, maybe they've already happened. But I think Yorkshires are in a good spot and kind of up and coming.
Mm-hmm.
I would say probably when I was just getting started, or the couple years before, that's when Hampshires were really hot, and it had some really good sales there at summertime in Louisville and things like that. I would say maybe Hampshires could use just a little bit more work right now in terms of focusing on making them better structured and still having the center body and rib cage and look that we're looking for. There's probably not as many diverse options of Hampshire sires maybe to look for, but again, it kind of goes in waves, like I'm sure you guys have seen.
Oh, for sure.
For lots of years, breeds kind of have cycles. So I would say Yorkshires right now are trending up, and Hampshires probably are ones that you need to Hampshire breeders need to bear down and kind of figure out what they need to do genetically.
Yeah, but with the Hampshires though, Ryan, when they jumped in there and found a bunch of those hogs to be crossbreds and did away with all those pedigrees, and I don't know what they do away with a third of their genetics, probably, which were not pure, but guys were getting it snuck in. It put Hampshires in a little bit more of a difficult situation.
It's a supply and demand type of thing too.
It is.
For a little while, Hampshires were hard to come by, right? And hard to find really good ones, and so then the really good ones sold really well, right?
Mm-hmm.
And that slid everybody down a little bit.
And everybody wanted to use those couple boars. There wasn't as many options.
For
people that are.
And so there's probably maybe even more options than there was at that time. But maybe the popularity in terms of selling them super, super high this summer wasn't the case. But still, I think there's a lot of good things to look forward to in the Hampshire breed.
Oh yeah, no, they'll be back. Yeah, absolutely. And they're on the. I think.
Yes, there's lots of different options out there.
Yeah, they're coming. Sure. They're coming. Yeah.
Yeah, no, and we're not trying to say Hampshires are, on the don't breed them or anything. We do want you to breed them. Hampshire breeders, they're working awful damn hard to get these hogs good, and they are.
Yep. There's probably just it's spread out a little bit more in terms of what you can use, which honestly probably maybe doesn't allow for that super, super high one, because everybody feels like I can buy this boar for this price and get along really well and still make better pigs.
Mm-hmm.
And there's more of those options, so it spreads people out a little bit more, as opposed to just having, that's the one right there. We all have to use him. Who's going to be able to own them for the crazy price?
Right.
Yeah.
And some of these breeders get into trouble with that too. Sell $100,000 boar, and everybody tries to use him. And your genetic diversity doesn't get to be as good.
Everything's related
because he might fail.
Yeah. I mean, you just don't have those options to go to
and right
try
now
to make different hogs.
Yes, I think Hampshires do have quite a few options, which is good.
Yeah, options are good.
Yes.
Yeah. Always good for sure.
There's also the mindset. Don't necessarily always do exactly what your neighbor tells you to do, or what do you think is cool. Think for yourself and do something a little different.
And that helps a lot.
Yeah, use a board that you actually like yourself.
What your herd needs to improve your own sow herd.
Yes, and don't just do what's the very popular choice. Just use a little self-thinking.
Yeah.
Yep.
And do what you can do, but like when you need help, reach out to guys like Ryan or other field reps in your area. And if, you get stuck a little bit or you feel like you're going in the wrong direction, they can definitely help you out and get you sorted and get you pointed back where you need to be.
Yep.
Yeah.
So closing remarks, anyone have anything? I felt that was a pretty good talk,
Thanks for coming, man.
Yeah.
No problem, Randy. Thanks, guys. Yep. You need me, get a hold of me. My phone number is easy to find. But I'd be happy to answer any questions or come look at your pigs if you want me to do that.
And you'd be at a very, very high benefit to have Ryan come to your farm and look around.
Yep.
I can promise you that he will help you out for sure. All right, guys. Thank you very much. That has been episode 5. As always, like and share. When you see these, if you like the episodes, let us know. And if you have anything else you want us to talk about or have any topic ideas, please feel free to leave them there in the comments or pick up the phone and talk to us. We like talking to you. All right. Signing off. Thank you very much.
Guys, thanks.